Hello and welcome. I am a hotel AI expert, and as someone with extensive experience in modern hospitality operations, I am absolutely delighted to welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to this online learning journey. Today, we're going to dive into a skill that is absolutely critical for any hotel leader: crisis communication. We look forward to supporting your professional growth in this amazing industry. Let's begin.
So, let's start with what I think is the core challenge of any crisis in today's world. This quote really says it all. Perception can travel faster than facts. In an age of instant tweets and viral stories, mastering the public narrative isn't about trying to spin the truth. Not at all. It's about making sure the real story, the facts, actually get a fair hearing. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at that critical moment when a crisis goes public. Then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of crafting your core message and controlling how it's delivered. From there, we'll tackle the wild world of the digital space. And we'll wrap up by looking at how your response ultimately defines your hotel's legacy.
So, let's jump right in. The second an internal issue, maybe a kitchen fire, a serious guest complaint, escapes the four walls of your hotel, the entire rulebook just gets thrown out the window. You're not just managing an operation anymore. Suddenly, you're performing on a public stage where perception is reality. And believe me, it forms in an instant. And this slide right here really illustrates that shift perfectly. When a crisis is internal, your focus is pretty straightforward. It's on your guests, your staff, and solving the immediate problem. It's all contained. But the moment it goes public, your focus has to pivot entirely to perception and reputation. The goal is no longer just operational. It becomes about strategic communication in a totally chaotic and uncontrolled environment. And if you want to see just how uncontrolled that environment is, take a look at this timeline. An incident happens at 1 o'clock. Just 2 minutes later, the first photo is already online. 8 minutes after that, a hashtag with your hotel's name is trending. And by 1:30, you're getting your first call from the media. Now, this isn't an exaggeration. This is the unforgiving, lightning-fast reality of how information moves today. Okay, so we know things can escalate in a flash. The big question then becomes, how do you respond effectively? Well, it all starts with crafting the right message. And this isn't just about quickly putting out a statement. No, this is about building a solid foundation of trust right when you need it the most. And here is the absolute golden rule. Accuracy must always, always come before speed. I know the urge is to respond instantly, to say something right away. But rushing out unverified information can cause damage that is almost impossible to undo. A simple, factual statement that just acknowledges you're aware of the situation is so much better than a detailed report that turns out to be wrong. Precision is what builds your credibility.
So to build that credible message, it has to be built on these three essential pillars. First up, empathy. You have to show that you get how serious this is and that you genuinely care about anyone who's been affected. Second, responsibility. Show you aren't trying to downplay the issue or shift blame. And third, action. You have to clearly state the concrete steps you're taking to fix it. If you're missing any one of these, the whole message just falls apart. Without empathy, you sound cold. Without responsibility, you sound defensive. And without action, your words are just empty.
Okay, so you've carefully crafted your message. Now what? Well, the next major challenge is getting it out there clearly and consistently. This part is all about disciplined execution. It's about making sure your message is heard exactly as you intend it, without any confusion or mixed signals. First things first, you need to appoint authorized spokespeople. Think your general manager or PR manager. This is absolutely key to preventing mixed messages. Second, that message needs to be perfectly consistent across every single platform. Now, a critical rule here that shows true professionalism is protecting guest privacy. That is non-negotiable. And finally, you have to make sure your own staff is briefed and aligned with the public message, so you're presenting a truly unified voice.
All right, now let's talk about what feels like the Wild West of crisis communication: social media. This is a 24/7 arena that truly never sleeps, and because of that, it demands its own very unique strategy.
As this slide says, the challenge with social media is that it's a real-time environment where information, and more importantly, misinformation, spreads like wildfire. Rumors can very quickly become what people perceive as the truth. So your goal here isn't to control the conversation. That's literally impossible. Your goal is to participate in it with timely, accurate updates that stop speculation from filling that void.
And on these digital platforms, how you say something is often just as important as what you say.
Just look at the do's and don'ts here. We have to be calm, we have to be respectful, and we have to be human. A defensive or overly technical, corporate-sounding tone just creates distance. Look, in a moment of crisis, people don't expect you to be perfect, but they do expect you to be honest and human. Your communication must reflect the very best values of hospitality.
And that brings us to our final and perhaps most important section. You see, effective crisis communication is about so much more than just managing a single negative event. It's really about shaping how your hotel is remembered for years to come. It's about defining what you truly stand for.
When you strip everything else away, this is what it all boils down to. In a crisis, every single thing you say and every action you take reveals just one thing: your hotel's true identity. Every communication becomes a defining statement about your hotel's character and values when it's under intense pressure.
So when you handle a crisis well, your response does so much more than just control damage. Clear communication reassures guests and staff, and that reduces a lot of anxiety. A professional, measured response can actually strengthen your reputation and build trust for the long term. And most importantly, your actions in these critical moments show the world what your hotel really, truly values. So I'll leave you with this final question to really think about. This isn't just theory from a textbook. This is a fundamental test of leadership in the hospitality industry. When that moment comes for you, and it will, what will your communication say about your values?